Good evening, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some breaking news tonight. This time, it's all about RMC revealing that in their factory right now, they have the brand new Raptor track steel beams, what seems to be, being fabricated as we speak. Now, a lot of enthusiasts have been wondering about this Raptor track. Now, we know, first off, that Raptor track is the smaller of the two tracks of this new style single rail concept that RMC has. Danny, can you give us a little explanation as to maybe the differences between single rail, traditional rail, and maybe between T-Rex and Raptor?
Yeah, so the main difference here, when you think about RMC, everybody knows what RMC topper track and what RMC Iron Horse track look like. We've been through that discussion here on COASTER-net Updates. We've been through that discussion on COASTER-net Uncut time and time again. And a few years ago, RMC revealed the T-Rex style track, and then even more recently, the Raptor style track. The T-Rex and the Raptor style track are very, very similar in the sense that they are essentially a single beam style of track, not a far cry from what you see from B&M coasters. However, B&M coasters have the square beam, the square spine, if you will, and then have cross ties, thin sheet metal plate cross ties that connect to the rails. Essentially, all that the T-Rex and Raptor track is taking the Iron Horse track, which are two separate I-beams, and joining them together. You have a plate on top that connects them, a plate on bottom. It becomes one rectangular beam with the rails and the spine all contained in one continuous shape, as opposed to B&M track, which has the thin cross ties. So the T-Rex track is the big version of this. The Raptor track is the smaller version of this, and the renderings we've seen show two across vehicles, some newer type of RMC vehicle that we have not seen on a ride yet, maybe because we haven't seen a T-Rex be built yet. So two across version on the T-Rex track, and then a single file version, not quite a cuddle style bobsled seating, but a single file actual seat on the Raptor style track. And what people are not realizing, Andy, is that this track we're seeing, they actually did the hashtag RMC Raptor, which I had to chuckle for a minute because at first I read it as RM Craptor is what I read it as at first, but it is RMC Raptor. So that does mean, and if you look at the scale of it, it is the smaller version. So Andy, you and I have discussed this a lot over the past, this happened yesterday, essentially, the time that we're recording this. We've discussed this a lot in the last 24 hours, and you and I seem to be in agreement that because it is the smaller of the two and not the T-Rex, that this rules out a lot of large parks, because a lot of your larger parks would want the bigger version. They would want the higher capacity. And you and I seem to be in agreement on where this is going.
Yeah, so I hear a lot of people talking about a lot of different parks throwing this out there. A lot of people saying, like, Knott's Berry Farm. I think immediately because
we're going to call our shot right now.
Yeah.
We're going to call our shot, and if we're wrong, we'll come on here and say it's wrong. But you and I are going to call the shot right now. We're going to point to the fence and say where this ride's going.
Yeah, and we say it's Silverwood, mainly because of the size of the park, mainly because of the location to the RMC factory. And there have been some rumors of Silverwood maybe making a splash in 2018, maybe getting involved in putting in another coaster. Whereas to the point of me and you, we actually had a trip planned out to the Pacific Northwest this year, and we kind of put it on hold a few weeks ago because of these rumblings that began to start about Silverwood getting something, and now all of a sudden RMC is throwing up Raptor track, the smaller version, and I think it makes perfect sense to go to Silverwood because of the size, because of the location to the RMC factory, and because really it doesn't really fit a lot of other parks. Knott's Berry Farm, people are going this way because of the removal of Boomerang. Yes, a Raptor track would fit there, but capacity-wise, Knott's Berry Farm needs something a lot bigger. Raptor, if you're going to do this, you're going to go full-on T-Rex here. If not something else, they need a larger cap ride. Those rides are already hammered on busy days the way it is. Some people are saying
go ahead.
Some people were saying Texas parks, like Fiesta, Texas, or something like that. Yes, RMC's worked with Six Flags in the past. I just don't see that happening here, once again, because of the capacity issues.
Yeah, and let's not forget, and I mean, you talked about the size of the park. A park Silverwood's size is really kind of built to test out a ride like this because they don't get huge crowds. They are kind of out in the middle of nowhere there. They have a very strong. It's not really a vacation destination, if you will. I know Coeur d'Alene, the Coeur d'Alene area is a big ski resort town, but that's in the winter. You're not going to the theme park in the winter. So you've got a lot of locals, you've got a local crowd. So you're not getting a bunch of people traveling here. Like you said, we had a trip. We were planning a trip. We even went so far as to look for hotels and flights and to start mapping out a particular weekend and started planning our itinerary. And a few weeks ago, you and I started getting rumblings of this Raptor coaster that was being fabricated, and there's a very strong possibility that it is going to Silverwood. So we have kind of officially put that trip on hold for 2018 as opposed to 2017. That's a trip I've been wanting to do for several years. So it looks like it's going to align perfectly to do that trip in 2018. And then you also talked about the location. Silverwood is in Athol, Idaho, which is just north of Coeur d'Alene, vacation town. Hayden, Idaho is not very far away. I believe it's only about 35 minutes south, if I'm correct, of where Silverwood is. So it's very close. RMC can keep a very close watch on a first of its type ride, maybe before going out and building the big T-Rexes. And the last point here, remember that years ago, the topper track from RMC was first tested on Tremors, which was a CCI wood coaster that it has done very well on the Thrilling 32 and very well in the Golden Tickets as well. And RMC originally started as a company doing rock work for a River Rapids ride at Silverwood years and years ago. So the RMC history begins and ends with Silverwood Theme Park in Idaho. So I think it is the perfect fit. We're calling the shot right now. RMC Raptor coaster for Silverwood 2018.
Absolutely.
And you and I will go ride it.
We'll go ride it for sure. So thank you for joining us here on COASTER-net Update. Hopefully we'll find out real soon, I think, where this Raptor track's going. Maybe not. Like we said, Silverwood's our pick. But please hit us up in the comment section if you got some other ideas. We'll be more than happy to respond to you. And as always, ride on, Ride Warriors.
See you next time, guys.